including weekends, you all would have sex 2 to 3 times a day.
Yes, Your Honor. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she got pregnant.
I thought I'd let you know that she had sex with 4 other guys.
You say he took your virginity.
Yeah, he did.
But did you have sex with somebody else?
No.
You broke the rules because you had sex with someone outside of the relationship, but you say you did use protection.
Yeah, he cheated too, though. I did out of spite. Oh, there was a picture in my bed with someone else.
Mr. Adel took swinging from the park into his married life, and this has left the couple in paternity doubt about their baby girl. I know people are getting sort of nasty things and their children are paying for their mistakes.
You are here today to prove Ms. Jones committed paternity fraud. You claim Ms. Jones duped you into signing her daughter's birth certificate only to find out after her child was born that she cheated prior to getting pregnant. You say she broke the terms of your relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, these swingers have broken their own rules, as the wifey slept with some man without her husband's consent. But in Jones's defense, she did it out of spite. And guess what? The baby mama had no remorse over it.
Your Honor, we have certain rules. We're swingers, you know, and
Okay.
and she went outside of the relationship. She cheated on me, and now she's trying to pin the baby on me.
So wait, you have swinger rules.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the rules? What are the terms?
The rules are you don't go outside of the relationship and have sexual relations with anyone outside of the relationship unless the other one is present.
Yes, and the drama is about to get messier, because Mr. Adel told the court how he got into a relationship with his wife and convinced her of swinging. The woman had no idea what she had gotten into while getting married to the defendant. But the husband was a habitual swinger, so he persuaded the defendant to play along.
You were a swinger, or who was the swinger?
No,
How did this start?
I was the swinger. I had previous experience. I had relations with a few couples previous to our relationship after we made it official. I had talked her into it. Took a lot of convincing.
After this, judge was told the uncomfortable tale of how Mr. Adel had created a whole ad to recruit another swinger. His first choice was to add a guy. After going through a couple of contenders, they landed a match. Nonetheless, Miss Jones wasn't into the idea. She was just playing along. So right after the first run, the woman gave up.
At first, I thought he was crazy. Why would you want to sleep with somebody else other than your loved one?
Because
That's what I'm thinking.
It's exciting.
But I gave it a chance because I loved him.
So the first time you all have this threesome, what happened? I mean, I know what happens, I guess, but...
The judge was as baffled as us, processing the thought process behind Mr. Adel for being so desperate. Well, he just wanted to spice things up, but then why come to paternity court when you called for such stepping out? It turned out that this was about Mr. Jones sleeping with her husband's friend.
Well, the way we did it was we put an ad out online.
An ad online?
Yes.
What would an ad like this say? Go ahead, you know what it says. You know what they say. What does it say?
The title would say, couple looking to spice things up.
Clearly, Miss Jones was driven to this infidelity by her own husband, and now it was hard to figure out if he was mad about the cheating or just about the possibility of the baby girl not being his. On the contrary, we knew what jacked up at.
Answers the ad, and do you vet them at all? I mean, you just say they answered the ad and now you can come over? How does that work?
By talking to someone through text message or email, I can tell whether they're intelligent or they're a bird brain. You know, so
so for something like this, do you want someone intelligent or a bird brain? I don't know which one works better.
I would like someone to be intelligent, yeah.
Oh, you want them to be smart?
Yes.
Nonetheless, the stakes were high for the parents and the baby girl, as the alleged daddy wanted DNA to rule him as the father, while mommy was adamant about Mr. Adel being the father. However, if the results said otherwise, their marriage was over.
Till just 1 month ago, you realized that this baby, 2 months old, may not be your biological child.
Yes, ma'am.
And how has that affected you all at this point?
We get along, but I distance myself. I don't want to build any more of a relationship.
Miss Jones even provided a conception calendar claiming her husband was the father, which was not convincing enough for her partner. Because he believed his trust was breached, so DNA proof was the only solution for him.
Mr. Adel, you are the father.
I told you.
Let me say this. to you. Karma is very interesting.
Miss Grimes isn't sure why her boyfriend has dragged her to paternity court, even though there is no doubt that Mr. Davis is the father. But the alleged daddy believed otherwise, even though he stated his reason for asking the test.
Found out first off that she is a real good liar. She lie all the time. She lie all the time about everything.
Specifically, what did you find?
I found her telling another man that it might have been his baby.
Wait, you found what?
Okay, why is a woman ignoring the whole potential father from the picture? According to the defendant, Grimes was a compulsive liar who thinks that she gets away with anything. Believe it or not, baby mama had 2 more men believing that they were the father.
You were cheating because he was cheating too?
Yeah, I mean, I was cheated. I cheated one time.
Because he was cheating?
Yeah, to get back at him.
So when you saw these messages, Mr. Davis, what was your reaction?
I got mad at first, you know. I wanted to confront her about it, and she basically just told me she was lying to them.
Oh, so she was lying to another man too? And why were you doing so? Well, because the defendant had broken up with her, so she didn't want to be alone. That's why her best bet was to lure other men with baby news.
Text
Could've been
2
eight.
different men, not just one.
She was telling one that it was his baby and telling the other one she didn't know who baby it was, so I assumed it could have been his too.
Miss Grimes,
Yes.
what were you running around here doing?
I was just there. My ex, he was nobody. I didn't mess with him or nothing. I just didn't want to be alone. I was just trying to get.
But wait a minute,
Being
you're
relationship
not
with
gonna
somebody.
tell a man you hadn't slept with that
I didn't
he's
tell
the-
him he was the father.
Who?
Man, this is just too much confusion. Let's just skip to the pregnancy part. Mr. Davis had been playing the daddy all along. He was there for the birth, but when the baby came out, it changed everything as the boy looked nothing like him.
Certificate.
No,
You don't.
no, I wasn't sure.
That's the right
I
thing to
can't-
do when you aren't sure.
I can't trust her word.
And so meanwhile, you've just had a baby, Miss Grimes.
Yes.
The father is saying now, I don't believe.
Yes.
Whatever happened to this ex?
He's still around. He's the father of my first child.
This brought up the topic of the ex involved in the situation. The guy was inevitable and not going anywhere because he wasn't just the plaintiff's best friend, but also the baby daddy of her first son, and now also the potential father of her second child.
Her ex. It says, I need you because I cheated on Anthony with you, and it's possible James is yours.
I said
I got
possible.
pregnant with James around the same time we blanked.
It was possible. I didn't say he was his, though. Them weren't my words. That James was yours did not come out of my mouth. James, it's possible.
So screenshots proved what game Miss Grimes was playing. Still, she decided to act coy, but the judge was not ready to buy it. That's why she decided to call in the other father who was also firm in his faith in being the father. Well, can you blame the guy?
That you don't know either, but
No,
you
I don't
believe
know.
he is your child.
I
You
mean-
have an older child together, am I correct?
Yes, we do.
And so you all have obviously kept an ongoing sexual relationship.
Yeah, something like that. Not for real, but something like that.
You either have sex or you don't. I don't know.
We did,
We do, but we don't. Like,
Yeah.
we do, but we don't. Me and Jelani got a friendship.
However, for baby M Mama her dynamic with just nothing, as they were friends who messed with each other when they were single. Though this time, Grimes missed that she cheated on her boyfriend with her ex, and now there was a baby in question. The woman had no idea what she had gotten herself into.
If I'm single and he's single, we mingle.
If you single and he's single, then y'all mingle.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it happens.
So when you got pregnant, you told Mr. Davis that it was his child.
Yes.
So the gist of the situation was that the woman was both men around the same time. And like most of the ladies who appear in paternity court, she had made her pick, and it was driving her testimony in front of Lake. When the judge confronted Miss Grimes about it, baby mama confessed that she wanted the defendant to be the baby daddy.
I want him to be yours. She even told me that, she would rather
So
for me to be
she's
the
told
father.
you she wants the child to be yours.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
She told me that a couple times. It's just facts.
I didn't say that. I want the child to be yours.
To be honest,
You
I'm
don't
gonna
take
be
care of your first child. Why would I want the second one to be yours?
to be honest.
Come again.
But Miss Grimes, you just testified 15 minutes ago that if it wasn't gonna work out with Miss Davis, you didn't want to be alone.
Anyone can tell that playing games and trying to have your way had gotten out of the plaintiff. Even Judge Lauren could help but knock some sense into the young baby mama. And when Judge Schooling hits Lake's rocks hard,
The woman's sexual behaviors, relationships, they're on trial. That's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, you can't make a baby without a mother.
You can't make a baby without a man neither.
But my point is, you can't make the baby without the mother.
Right.
But the mother can always have had sex with more than one man, which is what you did.
The truth session made Miss Grimes realize that it was not about more babies, and both men in the courtroom had relevant reasons to ask for DNA tests. And we all know when affairs are so out on the Judge Lake's calls for the envelope.
In the case of Grimes versus Davis, pertaining to whether Mr. Davis or Mr. Warren is the father of 10-month-old James, the biological father is Mr. Davis.
Miss Hensley's constant cheating and bouncing between different men had strained her relationship to the extent of her fiancé disowning her daughter and refusing to marry her. And now the only option is to save the relationships. Is some hard DNA fact.
The relationship on a line because I love being with her, but it's making me have more and more doubts as time goes on because I keep finding more and more cases.
So it has eroded the trust.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you don't really have a foundation.
No, Your Honor.
Because at this point, you don't believe anything she said?
Miss Hensley's words have lost their credibility, and now her house was a resting palace of stress and awkwardness, as even after canceling the wedding, the couple was living together, and the baby accepted that it was her fault.
So, Mr. Jenkins, specifically, how have you caught Miss Hensley cheating?
There arose one time when we were first together for 4 weeks. We worked at the same location, and I happened to text her, and she was going to come over and spend the night. Well, she ended up messaging me saying, "Hey, I'm staying late until 2 a.m. at midnight."
You heard the man. The woman was to come to join him, but she stayed at work late. When the boyfriend went to check on her, Miss Hensley was preoccupied with the ex. This made Mr. Jenkins's trust rocky, and when he confronted the defendant, instead of telling the truth, she tried to lie her way out.
Mr. Jenkins is not playing today. So he went through your phone and saw you had been texting him continuously.
I mean,
What's your response to that?
That probably is true, but that we were talking as friends because, I mean...
You were speaking like you had never broken up.
Well,
what did the messages say, Mr. Jenkins?
They were speaking about how I miss you and I love you and I wish I could be with you, but I'm busy right now.
That makes the plaintiff's claims of the baby mama entertaining multiple men at the same time true. After this, he told the court how Miss Hensley flirted with other men in front of him, and there even was a man whom she really wanted to be with, and the only hurdle was the alleged baby daddy. And guess what? He had screenshots for this too.
Miss Hensley, oh, he's so cute, but he knows about David with the tear eye.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was there a co-worker, Miss Hensley, that you were interested in?
Yes, and we were friends, but I made it clear to him that I had a boyfriend, and that's why I told him about that, because people were trying to get me to leave David because they saw the way that he treated me.
However, in the defendant's defense, she was acting in such a way because her man didn't treat her right, and she never thought of leaving Mr. Jinking for the other guys despite his foul treatment, but the plaintiff was having a hard time believing it.
Talking like that at all because he respected my relationship and that I wasn't going to leave him.
You don't believe that, Mr. Jenkins?
I don't believe it at all. They knew very well that they could see me, and they could see me watching them. And yet he would still come over there like clockwork every 2 hours for a break.
That don't sound good.
Clearly, there was no trust in this relationship anymore, so the judge skipped to the pregnancy part. Turns out that baby mama didn't cornice for the whole 2 years they had been father. And suddenly, when other men enter into the picture, bam! A woman gets pregnant. However, baby mama ruled all these assumptions being bogus.
Pretty much a miracle baby, and I did have issues when I was pregnant with her because I wasn't supposed to get pregnant.
And that makes you emotional. I can see that. It means a lot to you that you got to have this baby. Oh my goodness, so cute. So, Mr. Jenkins, did you immediately have doubt once Miss Hensley told you she was pregnant?
None of the explanations coming from across the podium was convincing enough for Mrs. Jinking. The doubt part had affected his ability to both with 6 months old. He was purposely acting distant until he was sure that baby was his. The poor child was paying the price.
She knows who I am, but I don't let her know. I don't call myself daddy in front of her. I want to be 100% sure because I don't want to raise a child that's not mine. I still care for her. I've been with her since she first was conceived.
But you admittedly are holding back.
Yes.
You really aren't giving this child the love and the care that she deserves because you have doubts.
Even the judge was having a hard time comprehending the coldness. Doesn't every child deserve attention and care regardless of paternity doubts? Either be there or just move out of the picture. What's wrong with people today?
Really come to grips with the fact that you may not be Asher's biological father. I mean, it's one thing to say I have doubt, so I'm not gonna connect myself to the child and I'm just gonna hold back. I see that a lot. It's another thing to get the result and hear for certain you are not a child's biological father. Have you prepared yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
With that all said, we know Grim of Doubt doesn't go out that easily. It needs good DNA proof, and since there is more than one man who was supposedly involved in the paternity mix, let's see what the results hold.
Mr. Jenkins, you are the father. We can all exhale.
An Ohio man is denying his sweetheart because her peeps are whispering doubts into his mind. But Miss Mitchell brushed all of the claims brought forward by Mr. Robinson like this.
Did you have sex with somebody else?
I never had sex
right
with him,
after
but
he took it?
No, not at all.
So did you have sex with anyone
No,
else
I've never
during the
had-
window of conception?
No.
Who are these people telling him these stories?
I don't
then?
know.
Do
They
you know?
won't tell me, so I don't know.
So people just lying on
Yeah,
you?
it's him lying and her.
Oh, so you don't think he even ever got the messages?
No, not at all.
The pretty juicy situation was almost the Housewife's episode. Hooking up and dying it later. Romer's coming up. Paternity being denied. Too much drama, but weight is there, but another bomb that was yet to drop.
Have the baby. Is Mr. Robinson with you?
No, but his sister was.
His sister came.
Yes, I sent my sister.
So he wasn't at the. You sent her.
Yes, because I had got arrested the night of. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be 100% honest with you, Your Honor. So I said, Erica, I said, will you do me a favor? She said, what, bub? I said, will you make sure you go to the hospital for me? She said, yes, I will.
Finally, a witness mum shed some light on what is going on between the duo. Or maybe not, as she was too much charged with her daughter being accused of sleeping around with men.
I have proof right here that he didn't get arrested until 2 days after the baby was born.
So if he was in jail,
Really?
if he was in jail, how did he get arrested again?
With my daughter in the hospital. And yes, his sister was there, and I said, well, where's Ryan?
It wasn't
and she
the day after, it was
said,
the ninth.
I'm the
Says it
one
right
that
there.
said, well, I'm glad you're here. Where's Ryan? And she said, well, I'm trying to get a hold of him. And then I said, did you get a hold of him? And she said, no, Heather won't let him come.
All this nonsensical behavior had Judge Lake all worked up, because she wasn't enjoying this at all. She wasn't in for them, but for the child.
Oh, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah,
who
nobody
cares?
cares about that. Nobody-
But I know, I'm so sick of who cares? Who cares? This is just getting ridiculous. You all in this Facebook and this, if you all would have just stayed on Facebook instead of laying down in the bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here. But now, you all want to talk about Facebook all day.
So now it was time for the defendant's witness to speak. We really hope she will do some good. And she did, as the girlfriend told the judge how mommy wasn't letting the alleged around the baby.
You have to add to this situation.
I have been I've tried being civil with Hope. She had messaged me on Facebook when me and Ryan was split up, telling me that she was sorry for the way that she was acting.
Oh, yeah. I did say that.
And I told her, regardless, we need to get along. If Ryan's, we need to be civil. I have kids.
However, it turns out that the baby was stuck in a grown-up drama, and mom was all for revenge. Whereas the defendant was not ready to put up with her antics. And with another woman in the mix, youngest child was paying the price for others' mistakes.
She first and foremost has a right to know and to have in her life is her mother,
But also her.
and also her father. And if that is you, you've got to figure out how to make that happen. And Miss Mitchell, you also have to come up off all of your, the barriers that you are creating.
All of this was clearly going nowhere. So the judge got to the point at the hand. With 2 months of baby care expenditure, they reached for the DNA envelope, which showed this.
When it comes to 2-month-old Rylan Mitchell, Mr. Robinson, you are the father.